if people were turning more to drugs because of lockdown and more to alcohol as well, well, it doesn't matter whether they were legal or not. It still highlights how dangerous they can be.
Yes, and of course, all drugs come with dangers. When we talk about decriminalisation or potentially a further step in terms of regulation, I think we have to look at what's happened with the tobacco industry, with the alcohol industry. Prohibition for alcohol, over 100 years ago just didn't work. And, we have to learn that, we're not going to go out and advertise drugs like cocaine or heroin. We're talking about, a regulated medical supply for people who use drugs problematically, and also a tested supply. So at the moment, illicit drugs, one of the biggest dangers is that they are controlled by criminal gangs, and there's no regulation, there's no testing, people don't know what they're taking. So even somebody who you often see in the media or the news, the younger person who has been to a festival, who's took some ecstasy or MDMA for the first time and died, have the same dangers for that one-off use as somebody who's using problematically. And I think COVID actually highlights how we cannot solve this problem through, the continued policing and that side of drug policy. Despite international lockdowns, despite police in the UK still busting and arresting drug dealers through that time, drugs were still readily available in this country. So if we cannot stop drugs coming into this country or break down those criminal supply chains while there's an international ban on travel, I don't know how we could think that we can do it at any point.
So regulation, right? I suppose the argument then is that regulation would actually mean at least we know exactly what is going on. It takes pressure off the criminal justice system, removes the gang structure from all of this. But we also, along with that, we'd also need to educate more clearly about the dangers, wouldn't we?
Yeah, of course. I think that's something that's not looked at enough. There's a body of people that say education around drugs just doesn't work. We've obviously been through the era of just say no. That clearly didn't work. Drugs are here to stay. People are going to use drugs. It's like sex education. Sex education doesn't increase. Talking about sex in high schools does not increase teenage pregnancies, and proper harm reduction, drug information and testing and regulating drugs, I think would automatically, as you said there, Stephen, remove the criminal element from it. So therefore, actually, it may become something that teenagers and young people want to do less of, because sometimes, having been in that situation as a person who started taking drugs myself at a really young age and became really problematic for me, it was some of the mystery around it, some of the just say no as an inquisitive young person that I think led me to want to experiment.